Can I tell you how much I love this new intro? It's so catchy. You're listening to all Burgundy and Go Everything popular Urban Sports City, Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia. I'm Wole, and I'm joined by my co-hosts George and Glen. The homie Mo's running a little late. We'll have him back. We'll have him on soon. What's going on, fellas?
Nothing much, man. Is look, I know it's NBA playoff time, but we still talking football, and I love it.
I know, right? What about you?
It's
what
playoff
about you?
time, period. NBA and NHL.
NHL. Yeah, you're right. And it's
both
lit
been
too.
good. Both been good so far.
I mean, I don't know about NBA playoffs, but I know you're saying, George. Like hockey.
No, you know what? I ain't gonna touch on what we talked about here. I just want to say
I wouldn't have been mad last night,
more than the death of Heat culture. Heat culture is dead. That franchise is finished. I love it.
What up, Paul? What up, Paul?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm gonna put it this way. Y'all can figure it out. I went to bed mad. That's all it is.
I mean,
from last night.
See, that's why I knew I liked you, Glenn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We similar, bro. That's what I'm talking about. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Paul. Yeah, Paul. You are a shady dude, Paul. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Lakers when they can't come. You are shady. You cool with me, but you shady.
Yeah, at least the Lakers tried. The Heat didn't even try.
Man.
I reckon Spoelstra should resign and take a year off and then pick the best job next year.
One of the longest running coaches in the NBA right now. Supposed to.
Yeah, that's rock bottom for them, and I loved it.
Their franchise does something. Their franchise does something to do it. But Anthony Edwards he's you saw the video of him trolling everybody in the streets.
Yeah, I saw.
You know what? And you know what? As Mills Lane would once say, "I'll allow it."
Pistons on that. I know what. What's going on? Look, I ain't talking about no basketball, man. Y'all gonna have me upset here, man. Don't try to be upset.
I didn't bring it up. Let the record reflect. I didn't bring it up.
Paul's out here chatting, go to camp. Man, Paul, man, I got you, bro. You know what I'm saying? I got you.
It's football time. It's football time. We got stuff. We talk
about football, man.
That's true. We do got football stuff to discuss.
We got a winner here. Y'all want to talk about basketball. We got a winner here in D.C. You know what I mean? And the Washington Commanders. You want to talk about basketball. Anyway, let's knock out some logistics. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and Go Everything. Also, tweet us at ABG_Everything. It is about IG and TikTok at ABG_Everything. Right? If you're viewing this outside of our All Burgundy and Go Everything YouTube channel, go to YouTube, hit that red subscribe button, and also like this video. Also, we got the super chats on lockdown here. So if you feel like just leaving a comment, here's with a super chat. We'll make sure we display your message on the screen. This show is also being streamed on the Urban Sports Scene X account as well. All right, it's time for the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. We're going to discuss the Commanders' NFL draft selections, and then finally, we'll talk about the Commanders moving back to RFK. All right, let's get right into it. Let's look into this NFL draft. You know, obviously the Washington Commanders with their first round pick. With the 29th pick overall, they selected Josh Conerly out of Oregon, the tackle. But let me put the list of the draft picks out there that they did select. All right, I mentioned Conerly, second round pick. Trey Amos, cornerback at Ole Miss, fourth round pick. Jaylin Lane, wide receiver from Virginia Tech, sixth round pick. Kain Medrano from linebacker out of UCLA, and seventh round pick. Jacory Croskey-Merritt, running back out of Arizona. But let's start first with Conerly. I'm going to start with you, George. What were your thoughts when the Commanders made that selection?
I will say I was underwhelmed at first because, I was looking at some of the other people that were on the board, and I was looking at all the people on the board, and at the time, and of course this proved to be incorrect, so, I think my view was not vindicated, and Adam Peters certainly was. I thought they could have moved back and still got Conerly when I was looking at who was on the board.
Okay.
I'll be perfectly honest. There were defensive players, and we'll probably talk about some of them for some of these other teams that were drafted that I would have drafted over him. And honestly, there was a wide receiver out there that I would have drafted over him too. And I know you and I had a big disagreement about that. About a wide receiver in round one, but there was one out there. I was absolutely, I talked myself into, to be perfectly honest, at 29. That said, things that came out afterwards vindicated the pick, including the fact that whether wherever the story came from, Al Breer saying that Houston and somebody else tried to trade back into round 1 to get Conerly, or tried to trade above Washington to get Conerly. So they had to take him where they took him at 29 if that's who they wanted, and they definitely did. And of course, in the end of it, you're never going to tell me it's bad to take an offensive lineman in round 1 because you're never going to be straight at offensive line, or you're almost never going to be straight the way you want to be at offensive line. So you always need more depth. You always need better players. I would much rather have Josh Conerly at right tackle next year than Andrew Wiley. Sight unseen.
All right, George, I'm going to let you. Jeremy has a question. I'm going to let you answer it. He says, was there a trade back partner?
I mean, Adam Peters said that they had gotten calls, and they had gotten lots of calls. And you look at what happened around them. I think the Rams were going to take Jackson Dart, but when the Giants moved ahead of them, the Rams, that trade, I think the Rams were on the clock 1 minute, and they moved back to 40. So I think there was a trade back part, Jeremy. In fact, I think there was a couple. Problem was, I'm guessing they wanted Josh Conerly, and Adam Peters had his heart set on Josh Conerly. And again, at least you were taking an area that needed strengthening. And it needed strengthening. Offensive line does, given the Cosme situation, given how much struggles there were at right tackle last year. You know, I got no problem with that. You've got Laramie Tunsil in on left tackle and addressed that. Brandon Coleman's going inside, which is a bit of a change from what they were saying after the season, but that's okay. I think we're all okay with that. So again, I didn't hate the pick, but I was underwhelmed at the time.
Glenn, your thoughts when they made that selection? Your thoughts, bro?
As I said the other night when we was on, I understood it. Everybody else was question marks, and you wanted to go with a sure thing, and you got to protect your investment, right? As I did more research on Conerly, you got to realize this dude, he's agile, he's athletic, he's young. That would be one of the things I'd be like, yeah, he's a little young, 21 years old. You want to get some grown men strength. So I don't know what his strength level is till we see him in camp. But can we be honest? This team still did give up 50 sacks last year. I mean, let's be honest. This team gave up 50 sacks last year. So you want your biggest investment is the guy who took a lot of those sacks, right? So yeah, granted, some of the sack numbers are because he ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. But again, he got hit, he got touched. So you want to protect him, and we said it. I said it the other night. This team goes as Jaden Daniels goes. We know this right now. We knew this last year. Jaden Daniels goes, this team goes. So I understood it. I thought Green would have been a good pick here too, a defensive end, because you need to shore up the defense. But like George said, as things started to come out this week, and you might not have got him at 29. And with the state of the Washington Commanders' offensive line right now, you needed to get him. You needed to get him while you could. So I'm not mad at it. I want to see it pan out. What I love what Dan Quinn said in his press conference, I believe, earlier this week. He won a competition. And so they're going to be competition for those spots. And so you want guys to compete and want guys to get better. And that's the only way guys get better is by competing. So no one has a spot yet, but you could probably almost pencil this guy in. So, yeah. But it is definitely going to be competition at the offensive line, which you want, because if you look at history tells us that the offensive line that you start with the Washington Commanders is not the offensive line that you end with. So, so you want everybody to be ready to, as they say in church, be ye also ready. You know what I'm saying? To hop in and do what they need to do.
All right, let's read some.
Remember this.
Go ahead.
There were a lot of people last year that weren't happy when they didn't take an alignment in round 2, at the top of round 2. They took Newton. People were upset. So if you were upset about that last year, can you really be upset about them taking alignment at 29 this year? I don't think you can be.
Coach Conerly, was both a team need and a positional value. Conerly was 29, 32-ish on my board, so not a huge draft. Huge draft value. So I agree with Coach. I think he was like 30 on a lot of people's board. So in terms of placement, I guess he was, He's slotted at the right position. Just because of what was available, I don't think he was the best player available. But that's not a knock on him. I guess I pose this question to folks, you know what I mean? Because we have my man Deluxe on this show. Deluxe, who's usually on the chat. And I actually agree with Deluxe when we talk about Brandon Coleman. For a rookie left tackle, I thought he did quite well. I thought he was fine for a rookie left tackle. I think his play diminished a little towards the end of the season due to injury. But I think when he was healthy, we talk about everybody always puts out there that Brandon Coleman did well against Myles Garrett. They use that and now they use that statement all the time. And he did well against Myles Garrett. And just the same thing about when we look at Conerly, he did well against Abdul Carter. That's the claim to fame, right, for him. So I just think that, if the talk was that he's going to play right tackle, that's what Dan Quinn said at the owners meeting, that he would be playing. Like he said, they're going to try Brandon Coleman at right tackle. So that in my mind, I'm like, all right, if you're going to do that, then, he could be a serviceable right tackle for you. I guess my argument, my statement is basically like, and I said this, I put this out there on social media and folks, I got various responses that if Conerly had, I asked this question for you all before I assess Conerly. If Conerly has a Brandon Coleman season, is that a good draft pick at the 29th? Or does Conerly have to be better than Brandon Coleman? In terms of what he did last year?
Well, all right. PF Pro Football Focus, or the end grade for Brandon Coleman at the end
like
of the
15,
year.
Right? Like he's mid.
He was ranked. His overall grade was a 64.1.
Yeah.
Right?
Where's that rank within the tackles though? He's like in the middle.
He was 59 out of 140.
All right.
He's the 59th tackle out of 140.
Yeah.
So if Conerly is anything above 59, then a good pick.
Yeah. If he's not though. If you say he's about the same, what is it? What is that? Because to me, like I don't. All right.
I go by production.
You go off eye test, don't you? Right? Like everybody goes off eye test, right?
Yeah.
It's hard for me to rate. Go ahead. So I didn't want to cut you off.
No, I go by eye test, but also go by production. So if this team can produce, because I think I want to say what Coach says, because it kind of go what Coach says here. 4 top pass rushers are in the NFC East.
Yeah, I agree.
So you ask me after they play the Giants.
Yeah,
ask me after they play the Dallas Cowboys, right? And after they play Philadelphia. If that dude if Conerly can't block none of those dudes, then guess what? It ain't that good. I don't care what he does to anybody else in the league because you drafted him to protect Jaden because what the Philadelphia Eagles did to you last year in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And so he has to be able to block the best guys. Yeah. And if he's going to be your right tackle, he's not going to be. He's going to get the best guy because they're not going to put over the. If you're anybody who's playing the Washington Commanders next year, you're not going to rotate.
You're going to try to rotate him off of him, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to put your best dude on Larry Tunsil. Because so you're not going to put on Tunsil. So he's going to see everybody's best next year. And we'll be able to judge it and see if he can lock out. Now, watching some college film, I saw some tendencies in there where he short arms everything. He doesn't lock anybody out. And he's slow to get to the next level. So if they can fix some of those things, he'll be able to get better. I agree, Paul. He has to be better, but also I know he's 21 years old. That's my big.
So he'll get better.
He's still young. Most linemen come out 23, 24, 25. Got a little bit of grown man strength. He's still he's going against He's going against Myles Garrett, a veteran. Or he's going against
Michael Parsons. It's true. That's true.
Some of these veteran players, and you're 21, you may not be strong enough or mentally enough to handle this. So we'll see.
I guess that it goes to like I'm not doubting this kid. I feel like, and I'm not doubting Adam Peters. I think Adam Peters. I trust Adam Peters. That's not even a thing. It's not a thing. Because to something that George has said, like he said, he's booked in as the right tackle. So I don't know if he's booked in as the right tackle. Personally, I think he's had to compete with Brandon Coleman, and the loser of that competition will be a guard. That's how I look at it. Because I do think Dan Quinn coming in saying off the rip that Brandon Coleman is going to play right tackle. We're going to try him at right tackle. That's not out of nowhere. Like it is competition. It's like the loser between those two who is going to slot into guard. I personally would want Brandon Coleman to play guard personally, because I think he'd be an awesome guard. But I'm saying that I think if Brandon Coleman outplays him at guard, at tackle, he's going to be the tackle. I don't think he did. I put it like this: nothing's going to be given to Conerly. Nothing's going to be given. He's not going to be handed the position. You know what I mean? He's not at that spot. It's not going to be handed to him. He's not that type of left tackle where it's just handed to a right tackle that is just going to be handed to him. Because like Glen said, there's things I think there's something out there. He said he's better in pass pro right now than he is in playing than the run. So in terms of his youth, the physicality can get to him. The physicality, he hasn't bulked up all the way yet. So I personally think that he's more. It's gonna be a competition, and if he wins out, he wins out. Because just like it was stated here earlier, this is about competition. Now, with all that being said, he does have a lot of great physical traits in terms of athleticism. He can move. So, and again, going against seeing somebody like Abdul Carter, who's one of the better, man, that man's, we saw him with one hand. That's enough said. We saw Abdul Carter with one hand dominate a game, and he did a good job with Abdul Carter while Abdul Carter was healthy. So he has the potential is there. You know what I'm saying? But I think what it does at the end of the day, just like Glenn said, Jaden is your number one asset. You're gonna do whatever it takes to protect Jaden. And to George, and you mentioned it's crazy when you talk about wide receiver. I know we debated it on the show before, but somebody changed my mind to the aspect of this. To your point about getting a wide receiver, if the wide receiver was worthy of being had slipped and it was hot and shouldn't have been at that position, I would have took a wide receiver. Like it's all about slipping in the right spot. The reason why I say that, because I had to reprogram myself. Not because I don't think they didn't need an edge. I knew, to me, they needed an edge, right? But it was like, what did they do in the offseason that what one edge rusher would change the whole direction of this defense? Like, I don't think they did enough in the offseason on defense for me to say an edge rusher, any of those edge rushers that I even like, is going to change the direction of this defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you had put money into free agency and put money into building your defense thoroughly, then I would say, and then you add an edge, that would be like, yeah, okay, they're ready to rock. I don't think this defense, if you add an edge rusher, I'm not seeing a top 10 defense like that, for real. Not with the players that are out there now, to be real with you. You know what I mean? So if I can't do that, then let me put weapons around Jaden. Well, I know I can have a top tier offense. You know what I mean? That's why I had no issue with going running back. I changed my mind. I changed my thought process. I had no issue going running back. I had no issue going wide receiver. And I don't have an issue with going with a lineman. Because again, at the end of the day, your number one asset is Jaden, and Jaden can uplift everybody else. So that's to me where it's at. On the defense side of the ball, I like players. I like a lot of players. I like Mikey. I still like Lattimore. I love Bobby. You know what I'm saying? But in that defensive front, I don't see game changers. Period. You know what I'm saying? And you just one of those rookie dudes. I don't think they're Micah. They're not any of those type of players. Micah Parsons. They're not a Myles Garrett type of player. They're good, but they're not multifaceted like those dudes are. You know what I'm saying? So those dudes that was out there late in the first round, I don't look at them as changing the whole culture of the defense personally. So I would have been cool with getting an offensive player. And as much as I even wanted, Will Johnson, who slipped down the draft, I was like, at the end of the day, in terms of this team, in terms of best player available, I probably would have went to the offensive side of football as well.
There is a lot to digest in what both of you guys said here, and I have to address. The first thing is I must have taken it differently than you, because I looked at the drafting of Josh Conerly as he is definitely going to be our right tackle, and Brandon Goldman's definitely going to be the guard. And then let me add this, because I see you shaking your head. If that is not the case, if Josh Conerly, taken 29th overall, cannot beat a third-round guy out, considering that third-round guy played left tackle last year and did okay considering.
At left tackle.
And he played left tackle and he did okay considering. Yeah. I'm going to have a problem with Josh Conerly at 29 if he's going inside the guard. I mean, I'm going to have a big problem. Josh Conerly projects as eventually our left tackle once Laramie Tunsil exits the scene, whatever that is. I think that's what I heard some people say that he's going to go to right tackle, but that when Laramie Tunsil's not here, he's your guy at left tackle. So if he's beaten out by Brandon Coleman, that's not good, in my opinion. Even though I think a lot of Brandon Coleman, that's not a knock on him. He better not be getting beat by Brandon Coleman when we're taking him 29th overall in the draft, given who else was on the board. I would go from being underwhelmed to being annoyed, and maybe a little upset with Adam Peters if that's what happens.
I think this thing. I think we not, and Glenn, you can jump in after this real quick. But I feel like Brandon Coleman, again, you're asking Brandon Coleman. Brandon Coleman was playing left tackle. That's the prize position because you're guarding someone's blind side, a right-handed quarterback's blind side, right? And truth be told, a lot of us, and we can't be prisoners of the moment. A lot of us at the time, when he was healthy, were touting his accomplishments. We were not saying he was bad. We were saying he was a find. That's what we called Brandon Coleman. Yeah. This is the truth. This is not a lie. I had my man Deluxe, and I agree with him. You come on the show in the chat. Saying Brandon Coleman was good on the chat. And I'm saying though, and I'm gonna say it, when his play declined is when he was hurt. It wasn't when he was healthy, it's when he was hurt. That's when his play declined. So if you're saying and we can say that about any draft picks, so there are, for instance, what round was Stephon Diggs drafted? Third round? And he was better than a lot of first rounders, right? So it's all about how you play in the league. It's not about how you.
I understand that.
Yeah. So they drafted him. My thing is this is the thing. They drafted him, and this is a good point. Even see Brandon Shore fifth overall. Brandon Shore was supposed to be a tackle. They just moved him to guard. He was supposed to be a tackle. They moved him to guard because they figured out he'd be better. He'd be better at guard.
Yeah, but that? Given who was on the board at the time and what we needed, was it the right thing to take a tackle who would not be a tackle?
No, I'm saying this gives you they like flexibility. It's competition. Glenn said this is all about competition. I'm not saying that he's not going to beat him out. To your point, he's supposed to beat him out, but it's not given to him. It's nothing is given. Jazon Newton was a second round pick, and usually second round picks, D tackles can take a job out of anybody. They didn't give him the job. They're not going to give you the job. You know what I mean? You got to earn the job. Yeah, it's not exactly. Yeah, Glenn, go ahead. Take it. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you were saying it's not the culture of this team.
Yeah,
it's not what they're building. If you look at everything they built from last year, this team was good because it was competition. It was guys playing behind them. It was guys making it. And if Brandon Coleman beats him out, he got a year experience in the league over Conerly, right? Yeah. And that's to look at it. These two guys only separated by a year as far as NFL play. One was drafted last year, and one was drafted this year. So if you're the Washington Commanders, right, you want to try to get both of these guys on the field at the same time. Because guess what? You're not picked in the second round. You're not picked in the first round at 29 to ride the bench.
Tracks.
Yeah. Your first rounder is supposed to be your starter. Your first rounder is supposed to be a starter somewhere. If it's a quarterback, he's supposed to be the starting quarterback. If it's a wide receiver, he's supposed to be a wide receiver. If he's an offensive lineman, then he needs to be one of your front five. If it's a D lineman, he needs to be a starter. So whoever you draft in the first round is a starter. Cliff Kingsbury really likes this kid.
He does, though. I mean,
he really likes Conerly. So at the end of the day, we know Dan Quinn is the head coach. It's going to be Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels' call on where Conerly plays.
I like this one. Jeremy said, could look at it the same if they drafted an edge that couldn't get they couldn't get sacks. Hindsight is always 20/20. I agree.
So we have to evaluate over time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We have that opportunity, and again, it isn't the reason I was underwhelmed was that I was looking at who was on the board, I thought they could get Conerly if they moved back, which turned out not to be true. Yeah. But there were some really good players on that board, including one that was taken right after us by a division rival that I think could have helped us just as much as Conerly, if not more so. So that's where I'm saying, if Conerly can't beat Brandon Coleman out for the right tackle job, that's not a good look.
Well, why is that? I guess this is my thing. This is my thing. Are we saying that Brandon Coleman isn't good enough?
No,
because no. That's what my thing is. That all right, Brandon Coleman. This is a fair thing to say. If Brandon Coleman is good enough to block Myles Garrett, how come he's not good enough to be a starting left tackle, right tackle?
It's not even that. It's that from a talent perspective and a talent acquisition perspective, You're telling me by taking Conerly at 29,
he's better.
Especially after you said that you're going to try Brandon Coleman at right tackle, that you obviously think that Conerly can play right tackle right away today. Yeah. Don't you think?
Is it 29? I'll say this, not really, because the Cowboys got Guyton from Oklahoma. Man, he really didn't start last year.
Yeah, and how do you think their fans feel about that?
Oh, I'm saying,
given who was on the board at the time.
I'm just saying you can, like, there are, and he was young, just like honestly, it's just like Conerly. He was super young, lighter too. He's young, but they expect him to be better as he gets older. You know what I mean? Like, there's a thing, like, in year one shouldn't, and to be real with you, year one, for like Glen said, somebody's 21, year one, if he doesn't kill, should not be a deterrent of how he's going to be down the road. Let me put that out there too.
That's fair.
21. He's 21.
He's 21 years old.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So
it's different from a 21-year-old quarterback, right?
Yeah. He did. Coleman played every position at TCU. Played guard and he sure did.
He did. Coleman's smart enough to play everything. So Coleman,
I'm saying I expect him. Let me put this out there before I just put it out there. Let me put this out there. I expect Conerly to be the right tackle. Personally, I do expect that. But I do think that what Glen said, and I think people in the chat, it's all built on competition. That he's not handpicked. This is not like if he's not looking great in training camp or preseason, they're not just gonna say you're all right tackle. It's not gonna be that type of. It's not the old regime. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
If that was the case, Jahan Dotson would still be on the team just because he was a first rounder.
That's fair point.
So it's not that situation. Yeah, they drafted him. But at the same time, they're not going to force him in if they say, "Oh, you know what? He's not ready right now." They're not going to force it. That's just not how this regime works.
Yeah, if they don't fit in the scheme or what they want to do, they're not going to do anything.
Or like to your point, Glen, he's 21. If he's not like totally ready yet, because I think he's going to fit the scheme, he may not be totally ready yet.
Totally ready.
You know what I mean? Like that's the thing too. You know what I'm saying?
Question for George, man. George, so day one, who was your top five? Who would be your starting offensive line and where?
I mean, my hope is that it's Tunsil, and then let's see and then next to him is going to be Coleman, right? That's what we're talking about, maybe.
Allegretti, you got Allegretti. Is he still there? No.
Yeah, Allegretti.
They still have Allegretti.
He's still there? Oh,
yep.
He's still going to be there. Well,
because remember,
it'll be Allegretti. Go ahead, George. It's yours.
I mean, remember, no Cosme until at least November or December, and in my opinion, not for the whole year. But that's another debate. And then Bionis at center, and then Conerly at right tackle, and Allegretti at right guard. But again, if you want to flop and go Allegretti left guard, Coleman right guard, that's fine by me too.
That's
my hope. That's my hope.
I got something like George. Mine is the same thing. Like it's the same. Oh yeah, like Herbert. Yeah, everybody likes him. Herbert. Yeah,
Herbert can play too, right?
That's that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Mine is similar to George. I'm not going to even like act be all different. Mine is George. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I forgot about Herbert, but again, that goes back to the whole competition piece, right? How come we kind of I will say this, we kind of pick hairs because it's okay for a first round draft pick quarterback to set a year if he's playing behind a true veteran.
Good point, buddy.
Right? So how come it's not okay for offensive lineman to set a year if he's playing behind a true veteran?
Because quarterbacks have so much more responsibility, so many more things they're dealing with. They're handling the football every play. Offensive line is very tough to play. It's honestly, especially for the center, and you're dealing with line calls and changing protections and all that, it's pretty complicated too. But there are a lot more offensive linemen who've been drafted, come right on the field, started, played well, went on to have great careers than there have been quarterbacks. It's a lot harder for a quarterback to do what Jaden Daniels did last year or even what Bo Nix did last year than it is for an offensive lineman to do it. How many of your great offensive linemen didn't just go right out there and prove it from minute one? We're talking about. And in our case, Trent, Samuels, you can go down the list. We've had a lot of them. And almost all of them started right away or close to it.
All right, so I got something to say that. You're right, but typically, there's a caveat to that though, George. Those dudes are top 5 picks. Those are different. They're not the dudes you're talking about. Joe Thomas, Trent Williams, your generational tackles. Have you Orlando Pace? Your generational tackles that we've heard over the last some odd years have all been drafted, and Jeremy Tunsil is one of them. He slipped because of things in the draft. Those particular tackles you're referring to are all drafted in that top 10-ish. Joe Alt from last year, you know what I mean? They're in that one section. They're not question about it. They're not literally usually in the back. To be real with you,
right?
The ones that you're referring to, the ones that you can play off the rip, are the dudes typically in that sequence.
And Tristan Wirfs is another one.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's not like I don't. So to Glenn's point, I get where Glenn's coming from. Like I think the further back you get, you can't. There is that argument. Like even I think Olu from Penn State, Olu Fashanu. Yeah, Olu Fashanu. He barely I don't think he even started, and I love that kid. Like he barely started. So I'm just saying, like when you're in that section, yeah, I agree with you. They're ready to play off the rep. But the further back you are, it gets dicey. It gets real dicey. You know what I mean? It's all about draft placement sometimes. And typically for guard, I'll say this: quarterbacks are different because throughout wherever they split it out to. If you're even a 15, if you're a 10, if you're a 20, like you're a 29, like Lamar, around the area, you can still start and be okay. Tackles are different, not guards. Guards, to your point, George, guards can play off the rip. Even the second round, they can play off the rip. Tackles are a little different the later on in the draft. It's not the same. But I will say this:
we put there's a Jeremy Lee comment that we got to put up there because he's got a very good point.
About I've already put one of his comments. Which one are you talking about?
Okay, the one about Trent Scott, because he's got a point there.
I got you.
Trent Scott is the guy that
I didn't put that one up. Go ahead.
Yeah, it says Trent Scott's a guy that did a hell of a lot better in relief of Cosme than I thought in that playoff game against Philadelphia. And I think you got it. I think that's one of the things that maybe I'm forgetting about is a guy like him could show out and be a contributor.
Yeah, I don't know I think you can get him in doses. I don't know as a starter because that Eagles game, he didn't like the Eagles play. I mean, because that's hard though, right? You're going against that. Like that interior defensive line of the Eagles is a problem. It's a serious problem. But I think to your point though, George, you're right. I think he did a lot. He was very serviceable. I don't know. And he's older though. He's not young. Trent Scott is not. He's not young. He's in his 30s. He's in his 30s. So, but yeah. But go ahead. But yeah. Do you want to go to the next? Y'all want to go to the next draft pick?
Yeah, go to the next draft pick.
All right, man. Let's go to a guy. Actually, I wanted Will Johnson. I'm starting to fall in love with this kid. All right. Trey Amos, the second round pick. Dude is a ball hawk. I mean, not ball. Dude is on your hip. He is the traditional Dan Quinn corner. Long arm, got size, physical, bump and run type of corner like we saw Richard Sherman. And them dudes in the Legion of Boom, like he can go he's on his hip. Look at him. Look, this dude. At first I was hating on him initially. I'm not gonna lie because I just wanted Will Johnson so bad. So anybody they picked, like any draft pick, any corner they picked, I was gonna hate. I'm not gonna lie. Every corner I was gonna hate. I was gonna hate hard too. But then when I watched him, I was like, this dude can play. And he's in the SEC, so he's seen talent too. He's seen some wide receiver talent.
What I like about that is this: he can play, and if you put him on one side, Lattimore on the other side, and you move Mikey to the slot.
You can do that. That's what you're supposed to be. Yeah, I agree.
And so you still have ball hawks and players on the field, and you got a guy when you talk about Amos who likes press coverage, who likes one-on-one, who likes to lock somebody down, right? With the long arms, that means he can jam a little bit longer, get into their chest a little bit. There's disrupt routes, and the way that he plays. Because if you look at the clips that you played and watch him, he likes to play tight. He likes to come down, swipe the bar down, and swipe down. He doesn't mind playing in that phone booth. Right, he doesn't mind running with you. So again, I believe Paul. You said you about to take the words right out of my mouth, Paul. That's why I like you. He is a day one starter on the other side of Lattimore if Lattimore can stay healthy?
I'll say this. I think he's a day one starter in particular sets. I think when they go 2 wide receiver set, I think Mikey and Lattimore are starting your 2 wide receiver sets. When they go 3, you kicking Mikey inside, and you're gonna have Amos out there as the outside corner. I don't think he's gonna outplay Mikey. But I do think that he'll be on 2 when they go 2 wide receiver sets. Mikey, Lattimore. When they go 3, just like the Niners used to do for Carlos Rogers. It's not nothing different. When Carlos Rogers was a Pro Bowler with the Niners, Carlos, when they ran 2 sets, it was Carlos Rogers and the other corner. I can't remember who the other corner was. And then they would kick Carlos inside when when they ran 3 sets. So it's gonna be the same thing with Mikey. But Amos doesn't in today's NFL, people run 3 wide receiver sets all the time. So he'll basically be a starter. George?
Yeah, the Trey Amos pick. Thumbs up for the Trey Amos pick. One of the content creators I was watching live during the draft was just hoping that Trey Amos would be the guy. He's not Emmanuel Forbes. He's not some lightweight back there. He was a physical corner playing in a physical league against pretty tough wide receivers. Trey Amos, and again, desperately needed help at the corner spot. Desperately needed it because. I like you, Wole. I still believe in Lattimore, but we know what the injury history is.
That's it.
And we know what the performance was at the end of last year, and we don't know what the future holds with Lattimore. So, getting Amos was a great move, and that's that pick I was really, really happy with.
You said something there, George. We don't know what's going on with Lattimore. We don't know where he's going to be at. But also, I want to say this: if the secondary is tougher and the secondary can be locked down, it will help the D line get more sacks. It's what you call cover sacks, right? Yeah. It'll cause people to get more cover sacks. So now, for teams are, third and long, third and set, or third and medium situations, we can definitely have guys. And we talked about all the time, all our pre-games, get off the field on third down, right? Yeah. When you have corners and stuff like that, it'll help you get off the field on third down and also help Joe Witt maybe take these guys and they can pin their ears back and actually just go if the secondary is short up. So,
yeah, cover sacks is going to be dope. I mean, you still want to have to get some type of pressure to help them out. You don't want to be out. You don't want to be out there forever. You know what I'm saying? Then
I'm not gonna be out there forever, but you're gonna have is that mental clock in the quarterback's head, so he's gonna be rolling around, moving. Come on, Ryan Kerrigan lived off those type sacks.
Oh no, I agree with you. I'm saying they're gonna have to get some pressure though. All I'm saying is some type of pressure, like you know what I mean. Like in today's NFL, they gotta get some type of pressure. Like
Lulu and Wagner can go get sacks.
I mean, you gotta be blitzing. I mean, you gotta send an extra man. You know what I mean? Because basically those are blitzers. You know what I mean? In the grand scheme of things, I don't know. Like, I mean, I do think they got better. So I'm going to put down secondary. They got better. That's not what I mean. Like they still they're gonna have to tackle some things on that front line though. I ain't gonna hold you, but they got better. Right. What I think is important is that George said and you said, Glenn, is like it's obvious. It's more on Lattimore, and what I mean by that, and I'm a fan of Lattimore. I am, but it's injury history. I don't even care. I'm not even talking about his play. I'm talking about injury history. Forget the play. I'm talking about injury history. If he goes down, now you have another guy to step in. You don't got to worry about, I got to play Noah or whoever. Like, no, we're going to play Amos and Mikey on the outside, and Noah, you can be inside. You're not forced to play certain people. Now you feel comfortable. You got 3 dudes you trust. That's what you got. 3 dudes you trust. I mean, if Amos pans out, you got 3 dudes you trust.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if one of y'all go down, all right, Noah, you're serviceable. We'll have you inside. So it works. Like it doesn't stress you out or stretch you out. No. You know what I mean? So especially knowing Lattimore's injury history. Let's go with some. What Jeremy said. How many of the top 5 sack leaders in the NFL last season made the Super Bowl? 0. Good point. Sack leaders, but they're not. I don't even think. Well, I mean, Myles Garrett plays for the freaking Cleveland Browns, so he's never going to talk about. I'm just saying, like, there's levels. There's also like, let's be fair, and plus, football is built on it's a team game. Yeah, like, that's how I don't like. You know what I mean? Like it's a team game. How many? You know what I mean? It's a team game. How many of the top 10 pass rushers? Passer. What? Jalen Hurts was what in passing and yardage? He wasn't in the top 10, right?
No, I don't think so.
Top 5. He wasn't in the top 5. Was it? I know. Freaking. As Pat Mahomes was in the top 5 in passing yards, I can make that argument too. So I'm just saying that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? It's all about who you are, man. It's all about how your team's constructed. Football's still a team game. I hate that people try to make it like one man carries a whole Super Bowl. It's still a team game. Like Tom Brady doesn't win all the Super Bowls if like that New England defense and Bill Belichick defense isn't great. Like for in the first part of his career, he hasn't won this many Super Bowls if that defense was trash. You know what I mean? So, if your secondary is solid and the QB can't just throw his first read, we'll get more pressure. Yeah, we should. We should. I mean, we should. If Jazan plays, steps up, I can see that happening.
Well, he has to. I mean, you figure Jazan has to step up now. You don't have a Jonathan Allen, so you got a Deron Payne. So Jazan is that guy.
Mm-hmm. I feel you. Not for you, Jeremy. I'm with you. Hey, Jeremy, we cool. You already know, man. We cool. I feel you. The Taj. This front office is definitely looking for and acquiring certain type of guys. Agreed. They are. They definitely are. Yeah. They're looking for their type of guys. All right, let's go for the next pick, man. I'm gonna let George talk about this dude. You know what I'm saying? Because he's like, I feel like you're VCU, but you're like VTech too. You kind of like similar to me.
Jaylin Lane out of Virginia Tech wide receiver.
Go ahead, George.
Yeah, sorry about that. Jaylin Lane. Yeah, I got it. Jaylin Lane out of Virginia Tech wide receiver. That was round 5. It was a long time between picks, and it's like I was watching, and I'm like, I know that from somewhere because I'd watched a few Tech games this year, and up popped that kick return against Marshall, and I saw that live, and it's like, yes, Jaylin Lane, as much for the help at receiver that he might be able to give us, but big in returns. How long have we waited and wished for a dynamic kick returner? Jaylin Lane is that dynamic kick returner. Can't wait to see him back there getting kicks, getting punts. Is this it? The Marshall?
I think this
is the one against Marshall? Yeah, I think it is. Look at him go. Sing right through there. Excuse me.
Oh, yeah, he's a special talent.
That's what we're missing.
And
that's what we're missing.
And I think that's what he's there for, though, because I don't think he plays the wide receiver spot. I don't think he gets the wide receivers are kind of locked in, but I don't think he gets a sniff unless you just say McCaffrey, bye. You know what I'm saying? But that we know that's not going to happen, right? McCaffrey's not going to get cut. He's not going to get cut from this team. I'm sorry.
He's not getting cut. He's not getting cut. No one says he's getting cut. That's not a thing. No,
yeah. So Lane will be your returner. I don't think he gets any wide receiver time. He might be a practice squad wide receiver. Well, can he do that if he's a punt returner? So he'll be a punt returner on the team. He'll make the roster being a punt returner because Washington doesn't have one. I mean, Jameson Crowder did well. McCaffrey did okay. But those guys can't stay healthy. So at the end of the day, you got to give it to a nice, young, fast guy.
I like him a lot, actually. I think he can play wide. I think he can get some wide receiver opportunities. He's fast and he's physical. He's more physical than I thought he was. And I like that. And we know this. Again, we know this from this regime. They do like physical receivers, right? Yeah, he's a fast, physical kid. And he's not just fast. Like he's on field fast. He's not 40 fast. He's on field fast. And that I think that is something they do need. A guy that we said it, man. Get him in a play in a situation that he make Jaden's life easy. Maybe you can get a 5-yard pass and take it to the house. Wide receiver screen and take it to the house. We don't have to go down the field methodically, with this type of game breaking speed. So I like the draft. I like the draft of him. I think he has an opportunity. I'm not going to say he's going to be an all-world wide receiver for the Washington Commanders, but I do see a spot where, with the talent of Jaden Daniels, he can look good for us, effective. You know what I mean? Like, look, man, Olamide was out there, and he had some good days and bad days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying, this kid
he got some tough ones and he dropped some easy ones.
I'm just saying, like, I think if this
kid went from claiming him to disowning him to claiming him to disowning him.
I know. George ain't lying. I'm just saying, like, this kid here, I mean, if he can get open like Olamide did, I'm sure his hands are a little bit more consistent than that kid.
My point is that he has to fight for those spots. He got to earn that in training camp.
Yeah.
You got Noah Brown. You got Debo still.
You got
McCaffrey.
The Cowboys. They got what's his name? Gallup.
You got Gallup. You got Debo who can play wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? So you have that wide receiver room is a lot for this kid to try to get some sniffs at receiver.
Yeah, facts. Straight facts. Paul said he will be our fourth. We will be our fourth by the end of the year.
Wide receiver.
I got him by the end of the year. We went from Dax Mim to Luke McCaffrey on my return. Hey, no, I want. You know what? Nah, I'm not doing Luke like that. Luke is way better than Dax. Nah, we're not doing it. Luke was getting a kickoff return. Luke was getting yards, bro. I'm gonna give Luke his flowers. Luke wanted smoke on kickoff return. Dax ain't want no smoke. Like I ain't gonna hold you. Dax ain't want no smoke. Luke was all about the smoke. I am so pro Luke McCaffrey when it comes to special teams. So pro Luke McCaffrey. You know what I mean? I think I will say I do like his toughness on teams.
Yeah,
I do. But to me, it looks like Luke is more of a. And I could be wrong. It looks like Luke is more of a kickoff returner, and I think Lane would be is a good punt returner. And there is a difference. I don't want.
I do hope we see Lane get a chance at kick return. But yes, punt return. Can't wait to see him take a few.
I'm not big on. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not big on McNichols back out there at all ever in life. After he fumbled that, and I'm kind of over McNichols. I know it's a short sample size, but I'm petty. Todd said if they wanted wide receivers, there was better wide receivers. I actually like the undrafted free agent they signed. Oh yeah, I'm not. You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't get hyped for the undrafted players anymore. I won't lie. Unless they play like defense or something, I feel like there's more of a edge for defensive players. I don't get into like wide receivers and stuff because they never really pan out for real. I'm not gonna lie to you. Undrafted wide receivers. What's the last really good undrafted wide receiver? Like really good. Like the one that you remember. Exactly. That's my point. Go for it. Exactly. That's why I don't get into those. Like, are they role players? You talking about as a role player? I mean, yeah, you'll get some
special teams kid, special team guy.
Yeah, they're teams guys. They got a particular position. They're teams. They're
teams guy.
I'm not. But you tell me who's going to impact this team in the first year? Nah, I ain't going to be that person. I do like him though. I mean, I like the Kim Jackson State. I do like the Kim Jackson. I'm biased though. I like HBCUs too at the same time. Yeah. I'm biased. But again, I have watched them play though.
We know a lot of those guys, unless they're exceptional, they're not gonna make this team.
They're gonna be a practice squad.
I mean, you got a 7-string, what was it, 7-round wide receiver, whatever the case may be, or 6. Whatever. So I mean, undrafted free agent wide receiver, he barely get reps.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's hard. It's hard.
It's hard.
You got to be the best that you got to be. I feel like for an undrafted kid, it's either you're the best because there's certain conferences you're not going to attention. You're not going to get attention. So that's the truth. But you got to be a bet for you to be successful. Using your resume in that school, you have to be the best of the best, like the absolute best. And I mean dominant, not just good, but dominant. There's levels to it, right? Like if you're coming from the MEAC, right?
Right.
You got to be the best player in the MEAC for damn near 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you could probably get drafted. I'm not saying you couldn't get drafted, but that's the level of being successful in the NFL. Like if you did that, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you're looking at somebody's 40 time, oh my God, he was doing this. Look at the kid everybody loved that came from. I want to say it was from Georgia that we got. Everybody thought he would be really good for us. He wasn't. He was undrafted. That's what I'm saying. That's the nature of being an undrafted player. They are, yeah. There are a lot of Steve. Yeah, there are not a lot of Steve McNairs out there. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Rest in peace, too. Rest in peace. Our next player, I don't have no video of this player, so I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I don't be worried about late round picks. I'm trifling, so let y'all know this. I'm not into like the late round, but I'm putting this up though. All right, Medrano from UCLA. He can run. I know that. He can run.
one thing he can run, but they're not asking him to start this week 1 or week 2. So he's sitting there with Bobby Wagner. He's sitting there with Luvu. He's sitting there with McGee. This dude, he's learning. You know what I'm saying? So he's in a predicament where his growth or his potential is all on him.
Yes.
If you don't embrace it, you don't grow with it, you don't deal with it.
Yeah, I know. He's special teams only. I know. He's gonna be a special teams
and
player.
That's good though.
That's good though, but he's still in the room.
That's good.
Yeah, special teams, but he's still in the room learning
if
how
he
to
makes
be a
the team.
linebacker.
If he makes the actual team though.
Right, if he makes that special teams, he's still in the room learning how to be a linebacker in this league by Hall of Famers. A Hall of Famer, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, go ahead, George. You want to say something?
No, I think that's what for me. The great thing about the Medrano pick was apparently how excited our special teams coach was about that, and how he was the one saying, "Oh man, we can't wait to have you." Of course, so was Dan Quinn, so was Ken Norton Jr. But it's like the fact that he was excited that our special teams coach was saying, "I want this guy." That's what you're supposed to do on day 3 of a draft.
Yes.
You're supposed to find guys like that in round 6, 7, and undrafted free agency because they might make 1 or 2 plays a year, but then 1 or 2 plays might swing 1 or 2 games for you. If they force a turnover on special teams, if they make a big stop and stop a big return from happening, whatever it is. So I love the Kain Medrano pick. I wasn't even thinking about it from the perspective of the linebacker room. Yeah, he's got to sit and learn, but he's going to have some good guys to sit and learn behind. I was thinking about how excited our special teams coach was to have, and I'm just glad that we've got a front office and a staff that really care about doing that and turning that into something.
Yo, George, I like how you said that we have a front office now and a staff, and that's what their job is to do. If you look at Washington here, I mean, they only had 5 picks, so they made the best out. I think they made the best out of the 5 they had, and based off the times that they picked. I mean, you picking 205, 245. You're hoping just to get somebody who can walk and chew gum. All right, you're walking to getting somebody who can compete for a job. I mean, let's be honest, man, because they didn't pick up a defensive end, and this draft was heavy with defensive tackles, right? But Wole, you made a point earlier, and you said I thought it was true. One pass rusher is not going to make this team. Yeah, they're not going to change the level for this team. So, with the linebacker from UCLA, I'm like, hey man, this dude can learn. But also, I thought about it too, Joe, as you was talking. He's learning from Jeremy Reeves on special teams. Yeah, another company guy, right? Another guy who's locked in. Another guy who's locked into the process. Who's drunk the Kool-Aid of Dan Quinn and who was here when this team was bad. So to learn from him and see what the intensity he plays on special teams is not a bad thing, and it transcends to other sports like baseball or football or whatever.
Yeah, he's a guy that's going to, how I view him, is a guy that's going to work hard and give you maximum effort, and that's a Dan Quinn type of guy. Yeah. That's the culture of this team, like maximum effort, and like that pail box type of dude, that lunch box, that lunch pen, lunch pen type of dude. So I mean, the speed is there. He has speed. I think that's also a characteristic that they're looking for to add more team speed. So the speed's there. But yeah, a special teams player. I wouldn't be surprised he makes the team. And if not, he's definitely a practice squad player. Like, definitely. He's going to be on the practice squad. I don't think there's a threat for him to if somebody else to take him off of our practice squad. He is a practice squad player, just in case. So either way, they're going to have a guy they can nurture and they can kind of take care of for years to come. Let's see. Next, let's go to the next player. George, you were into this game you into that Knicks game. Look at George. All right, 7th round. I know, 7th round pick, Jacory Croskey-Merritt from running back out of Arizona. I'm gonna start with you, Glenn.
When we get to this round, he's just a pick. I mean, look at all the running back Washington already have, right? Unless this kid does something special, he's not making this roster. And I'm not knocking the kid's talent. Yeah. By all means,
practice squad, buddy.
Practice squad guy. But again, you can't. I mean, I thought about that too. But when you start talking about running backs, you already got Brian Robinson, right? You already got Austin Eckler. That's 2. You already have McNichols. That's 3. Right. Mm-hmm. You already got Chris Rodriguez. That's 4. Right. Mm-hmm. So you got 4 backs there who's been on this team already. Yeah. This kid right here has to be special to knock one of those 4 off.
I mean, the thing that he has going for him is he runs a 4.45 40. So he has ability, and I think he had issues, I believe, that kind of extended his season. So I do think I think where they got him from, he has not. Yeah, like I think Coach said it. He has like great tape. Yeah, exactly. He has great tape. I think where they got him at, there's an opportunity, right? Because he dropped because of an issue. So he has not. I don't know about making the team. Making the actual roster. Because I do think that, to your point, you got Chris Rodriguez, you got Brian Robinson Jr., who's going to be on this team, folks. He's going to be on this team. Brian Robinson Jr., you got Austin Eckler. Who else am I missing? Jeremy McNichols. He's going to make the team. Like they're going in with the same situation.
But I would say, like Paul says, I mean, he's very explosive. My thing is, I just need to see it in training camp, and the reps are going to be limited. Yeah, right? The 7th round guy or the 5th running back. You'll probably see in week 3. There's only 3 preseason games now. So the 3rd preseason game, right, or in practice. So he's going to have to take a job from McNichols or Rodriguez. And we know how they are with Rodriguez. He'll do well, then you put him on the practice squad. They'll put him on waivers. He don't make waivers. They bring him back. So at what point do you just go and cut bait with this kid?
They're not gonna cut bait with Rodriguez either. They just signed that dude back. They just gave him a contract.
Yeah, I know. That's what. But I'm saying is they did last year.
Yeah, they did him dirty last year. I agree.
They did him dirty last year, right? And so if Rodriguez will be cut and all that, so
they don't cut him. You may be right. Todd agrees with you.
Hey, good Todd, man. Great minds think alike, right? So again, we'll see how he passes out. I haven't really watched this kid. I want to see if he's good in pass pro. Yeah. You know.
I would say go watch him because I think that I'm with you, Glenn. Like I get what you're saying. Like, and it's a 7th round running back. Like let's be realistic. Like I'm realistic. Again, it's a 7th round running back. It's not like just because you made light tape.
So was Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, but he plays with who? He plays in a good running scheme.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? No, I'm just saying it's rare. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Don't get me wrong. But
also there wasn't that many running backs in front of Isaiah Pacheco too when he went to
Kansas City. Injuries played a part. He wasn't deemed the net. I don't think he was never announced a starter after say he had to work it. Like there had to be situations for him to be the starter, right? Like there was injury. I believe there was injuries to kind of help him get that job, right? So I'm just saying it's not like, again, I'm not going into situations saying like he's gonna get this opportunity off the rip week 1. Now, injuries play a part. He'll get a chance to play, just like anybody, right? And injuries play a part. He'll get a chance to play. But to Glenn's point, he's so far on the depth chart. I'm not banking on him being on this, like being on the roster on opening day for a football season. I'm not gonna say that.
I hope he is. I mean, again, it creates competition. There's a theme of the thing: create competition. Hopefully, nobody get hurt, and just if he can push the other 3 guys to get better. Other 4 guys get better, then great, right? Yeah. And so, but I just can't see the team carrying 5 running backs.
Look,
I can't either, but I got news for you. Jacory Croskey-Merritt will be one of the running backs they do carry.
Okay.
Because
go ahead.
You look at this running back room. We know about Eckler's injury issues, and let's be honest, last year with Washington anyway. For whatever reason, they're not big fans of Chris Rodriguez, even though he does everything they ask him to every time he comes in. I don't understand that, whatever. Jeremy McNichols is on thin ice with me, like you, for the same reason, for what you just talked about before.
Yeah.
Jeremy McNichols, him being cut in training camp in favor of Merritt, if Merritt does well, or in the preseason, wouldn't bother me at all. And Brian Robinson's production just fell off the face of the earth at the end of the year last year.
Well,
and we were relying on Jaden Daniels running the football. So for me, Jacory Croskey-Merritt not only has an opportunity, I think he has an opportunity to win the job.
None
of these guys are penciled in.
That's cute,
except for maybe Eckler.
That's Brian Robinson. That's Brian Robinson's job.
Hey, let's keep it being. We not look. I get it. I understand. I totally understand the frustration. Let's put this in context. For real talk. If they wanted to get a starting running back, for real, they would have drafted him early in the 7th round. I'm not even going to lie to you. If they wanted a true starter, this dude is not, I'm being real with you. Look, I'm like,
he's a guy that didn't play college last year because of eligibility issues.
I get it. I get that. But what dude? That's true. But what do? I'm gonna say this again. What 7th rounder have you ever seen win a freaking job as a starting NFL running back? What 7th rounder?
That's true. And what 7th rounder is coming to a room with, as Paul rightly says,
let me say this again. What even as good as what's his name? I'll go quarterback. As good as what's his name has been for the Niners.
Brock Purdy.
He didn't take Trey Lance's job because you know why? Because he's a 7th round pick. That's true. I don't care what kind of competition you're doing. You're going as a 7th rounder. Look, we all got friends, and we have friends in sports. We have friends who play in the NFL. When you come in the 7th round, when you come in as a 7th rounder, it ain't happening. Not like that. You're not getting a fair shake in the competition. I'm gonna keep it a bean. You're not getting a fair shake. You got to work yourself.
He'll make the team.
You can say, all right. If you say make the team,
he'll work his way in that starting job.
If you say make the team, I'm with you. But it's not going to be year one. I'm gonna be real with you. Unless it's injury. It's not going to be year one. There's still politics in all sports. It ain't going to be year one. Let me keep it. Maybe year 2. It's possible if he really plays his butt off. Maybe year 2, but not in year 1. It's not gonna. He's not gonna get the opportunity in reps to even get that.
That's my biggest thing there.
He's not.
That's my biggest thing, that he won't get the reps. Yeah, he may be very talented, Paul, but what are they going to see? What are they going to see now? This is this is where they're going to find out that he's really special, George. Doing OTAs, the other guys are not there, right? Doing these rookie mini camps, right? They get to see if he's that special. If he can, then put him up. Now, Brian Robinson's production at the end of the year, a lot of that's on the offensive line. A lot of it's not on Brian Robinson.
That's true, but it opens the door because honestly, Brian Robinson's had injuries. Again, not his fault, but he's had.
No way.
And the lack of production at the end of the year was not all his fault either. Yeah. But I find it hard to believe that this kid, especially because the other thing that got me was them talking about the fact that here's a guy that the NCAA kind of shafted.
They did.
And he can't play, and he's showing up to every team meeting. He's helping out his teammates. That's the part of him that's the part that is a commander. When they're talking about they're looking for commanders, that part, the character, the hard work, the being a great teammate. To me, that's the crack in the door that he can walk through. Gotcha. In my opinion, and why he can work himself. Why I think he'll make this team, and why I think he'll eventually work himself into that starting job, because he's just going to keep giving them. He's just going to keep giving them reasons to give him a chance. So he's their guy, which Rodriguez and Robinson kind of aren't.
So who are they? Who are they getting rid of then? If he walks his end,
McNichols. McNichols.
Like, do you want my truth? You want my actual truth? I mean, I'm not going to because you know I hate McNichols, right? I do. I ain't gonna lie, I do. He's gonna make the team too. I'm gonna give you my most hated spiel. You're gonna get you know why? Because he plays over Chris Rodriguez and he shouldn't. He's gonna make the team. I'm serious. He's gonna make the team.
It's gonna be McNichols or Rodriguez.
And I'm telling you,
McNichols better be on thin ice because of what happened in that playoff game.
I'm telling you, as a 7th round, this is the thing. As a 7th round, this is the truth. It's not a knock. As a 7th round pick, you can stash him in the practice squad. I'm just telling you what it is. No one's gonna be like, oh, we got to get this kid. You know why? It's the same argument. People, what was the kid that flashed in last year, in camp that everybody was?
I know
Wiley.
But I know who you're talking about.
The running back was
Wiley.
What happened to him? He fried in preseason. Where was he at? On the practice squad? Did anybody try to get him? No. He fried in preseason. He showed tape. No, he showed tape. Him being hurt, no, he got cut. He got cut and they put him on the practice squad. They had nothing to do with injury, Paul. Ain't nothing to do with injury. He got cut and they put him in the practice squad because they knew they could stash him. That's all. There's some people that you just look. He's a 7th rounder. He can be stashed. He can be stashed. That's all. But why I put you on a roster and I don't gotta cut you? I can cut you, put in my practice squad. You're basically on my roster. Why do that? If I cut the other dudes, they're gone.
I'm interested to see the talent and see the competition.
Yeah, and plus, I'm looking at stats in New Mexico. Like he played in New Mexico. He had like 1,100 yards and like basically 1,200 yards in New Mexico. I gotta see more. That's still an unknown. That's an unknown to any scout. They gotta see more. So you're not gonna be like if you're a scout and Washington really did like him a lot. I'm gonna be real with you. They liked him a lot. They thought he was really nice. They probably won't show a lot of him in camp anyway. And so if they wanted to cut him, they knew they could put him on practice squad and they won't show you any film on him.
That could be.
I'm just saying that's just business. That's football business. Remember Dan talked about him during the season. You can talk about all he wants. He's man, 7 rounders, man. I ain't trying to like every draft. I'm like every round ain't equal. Let me put it that way. Every round ain't equal. Every rookie ain't equal.
No,
let me put it that way. Every rookie ain't equal.
But it's also based off your need too, though. I mean, every round is not equal. It's based on what you need at that time. And Washington they felt like they needed another running back.
If they were that desperate to get a starting running back.
29, they went Travion Henderson.
They would have got you. They would have got you earlier. That's all I'm saying. If they was that desperate to get a starting running back, forget combat, a starting running back, they would get you a starting running back earlier. That's what I'm saying. If they really wanted a starting running back, he's not a starting running back to them. If they wanted a starting running back, they would get him earlier.
Yeah,
they would know, and he wouldn't even. Honestly, George, it wouldn't even been. I'm not even saying it would have probably been like in the 4th round, where they got or the 3rd, like where they got with 4th round.
Yeah, but they also do the. I mean, let's also give Peter some credit. He seems to know the value of these players because.
But if you want to start,
he's going to make it down there.
If I can get you a starting running back, right? All right, I'm gonna give you an example. What round did the old boy from Colorado State go to? The wide receiver. What round did he get drafted?
Oh shoot,
was it 5th?
All right, 5th rounder. Okay,
I want to say 5th, but I'm gonna have to research that. Hold on.
Let's use that. All right. If you really want to like play it, like if you because basically Lane is Lane gonna be a starter?
He's a punt returner, yeah, but not as a wide receiver.
He'll be a punt returner, right? But he's a team player, right? But what's more valuable, a starting running back or a punt returner?
Starting running back's more valuable.
They wanted to start running back. My point, if they wanted to start running back, they would have took him right there.
But the reason he's not getting picked higher is that he didn't play college. He played one game of college football. That's fine, but he would. That's what I'm saying. You would find. You still have a better player than him. That's my point. My point. You would find a better player than him. So you're telling me he's the best player? But they didn't have a lot of picks and a lot of guys
you can't do that.
might have been looking at got taken.
You talking? No, I'm saying you saying that there was no available running back at a higher at where they got Lane at.
There was, but
so all Lane, I'm saying. No, see, that's what I'm saying. All I'm saying, if you wanted a start, this is a starter. This is not. That's a specialty player. Lane's a specialty player. If you wanted a starter, running back, starter, because you're talking starter, not a role player. You're talking starter. You're saying Lane. You're saying this kid could be a starter. If we said if they were that desperate for a starter at running back, they would have did him. They would have got him in that round when they got Lane. If they wanted,
I would have loved them if they'd have taken Devin Neal in round 4. I would have actually loved.
That's what I'm saying.
Because I was a Devin Neal guy.
Yeah, I'm saying if they wanted a starter, they knew that was more of a role player. Like Lane is a role player. Everything after that has not been starter. If you look at it, round 1 is what? A starter. Round 2 was a starter. Amos is basically a starter. The rest are role players out. Is the linebacker? What is the linebacker? It's a role player.
Role player. Because I agree with you and see where he's going. And that's because Washington didn't have a 3rd round pick. So you had to go when your 4th round pick, I think that's George's point. You got to treat these guys as if they can get there. Again, the competition is going to bring you there. We know the guys. I think Wole, you mentioned when you first going on your points. Some of these guys been injured, right?
Yeah.
B. Rob been injured, missed time. Austin Eckler missed time, right? Chris Rodriguez, we just don't know. All right. McNichols missed a little bit of time. So again, this slides you up in there. Same way Brock Purdy. Brock, the only reason he can't start it because San Francisco didn't have anybody else.
Yeah, no, because when they got hurt, because what's name got hurt.
Think about it. If Trey Lance stays healthy, we never see Brock.
That's a fact. That's
So Brock he got put in because everybody got hurt.
Facts. That's a fact. That's not even a lie. That's a fact. And, Rochelle Davis said, you know what? I like this. How about Travion Henderson? If he was drafted by us, would he have to compete? Yeah, he would have to compete. He'd just be better than him, though. We would have to compete, though.
He would win the job, no question.
He would win the job, though. He would got to compete, though. He would have to compete.
And he wouldn't want it any other way. Because that's what he does. He's been competing all his life. He wouldn't want it any other way.
I ain't gonna lie to you. He would have to compete, though. Travion would definitely have to compete. Facts. B-Rob definitely start. Yeah, he's the starter. He's the starter for now.
Because you want to see what he's going to
be. People, I knew it. Like as soon as like certain folks didn't get drafted, I was like, yo, folks gonna be pissed off that B-Rob's the starter. I'm serious. I'm not mad. Y'all know I'm not anti B-Rob. I'm not. Y'all know I like B-Rob.
I love B too. I love B-Rob. I like B-Rob, but
I know people are gonna be mad after the way the draft panned out. I know just because I knew any running back. I'm gonna put it this way. I knew any running back that got drafted, folks were gonna say that's gonna be the replacement. I knew it already. I knew that. That's why I was like, yeah. When happened 7th round, I chilled. I was like, oh, it's 7th round. Like, all right. But I knew any running back selected would have been like a B-Rob. Like, oh yeah, they're gonna get B-Rob out of there.
He got 1 year. He played on his last year of his deal.
Oh, he only last year deal too?
Yeah, he's on last year of his deal.
Oh yeah, he about to be
So either he produces this year, or it's one of those make or break years. It's a make or break year for him.
I hope this kid, I hope this kid still see Wiley as a sleeper. See, I told you folks like Wiley. That's what I'm saying.
Yo, I like Wiley.
I'm telling you.
Last year, Taj, look.
I like Wiley. I like Wiley.
Wiley never.
He balled.
Oh yeah, he balled. Wiley was a good dude. Wiley was a running back. But Wiley was he gave us again. He flashed and he showed what he could do.
I like Wiley, but
he didn't stay. They didn't. They thought he wasn't. He must have showed them something they didn't like.
Look, man, it's the room. Everybody got their favorites, man. It is what it is. Everybody they sign certain players they like. They do like Cliff likes B-Rob. I know people don't want to hear it. Cliff likes B-Rob.
They like Rodriguez.
I don't know. I don't know about the Rodriguez thing. I be saying they like him, but I ain't sure. They confused about Rodriguez. I know they like football. Yeah, I know they like Eckler, and they like McNichols. They like McNichols. They ain't really got
look. Eckler produced. I'm about production. Eckler
produced. And he produced. I'm not. And he produced. Look at the trade. Look at the trade. Look, man. He had one game. Was the Arizona game when Eckler was out? He played well. It was the Arizona game, right? Look at the trade in the first round. The team showed you where there was a need. Yeah, I agree.
What's up, Deluxe?
I agree. I agree with you, Deluxe, man. I agree. I'm just trying to tell folks about the running back. I'm trying to put some realness on the running back thing. I know folks want, they like you want to fall in love with somebody. I just want to make sure folks know the politics of football sometimes. Like folks be, it's what it is. Deluxe said B-Rob Eckler did well until O-line depth. Yeah, I agree. Came in and the athleticism of the line went way down. No, I agree. I think the O-line it's going to help out. I feel like if Conerly pans out, I expect B-Rob to finally have an 1,000-yard season, personally.
Would that be enough for them to re-sign him?
Nah.
I guess a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show.
Yeah, but let's talk about real. Let's go into George. I'm gonna let you take us into this next topic. You know what I mean?
All right, let me see here. Let me get that back up. Are we doing draft grades?
Nah, we're done with the draft, man. We're done with the draft. We gotta go to something cool.
All right, there we go. The Commanders and Mayor Muriel Bowser announced their deal Monday to construct a new stadium for the football team at the site of the old RFK. Glen and Wole, as Redskins Commanders fans like myself, what does this announcement mean to you?
It means we back in DC, baby. We ain't win a Super Bowl since we left. We ain't win a Super Bowl since you left. Yeah. Right? You ain't look. But not back in DC is where the team. I think the team's where it's supposed to be. This organization does still touch all three areas. They will still touch Virginia, being in Ashburn. They would still touch DC, according to new stadium in DC. But Josh Harris also said that he's not done with Maryland. So whatever happens with FedEx Field in that area, the Commanders will still be heavily involved in that area. To me, this means that winning cures a lot of things. Excitement cures a lot of things. A lot of these moves ain't start playing until you got Dan Snyder out and this team started winning. When you start winning, people want to see winners, right? People want to see winners. So guess what? People are going to see winners. It wouldn't make sense to move it in Loudoun County, Virginia. It wouldn't make sense to move it anywhere else. Everybody else can still get to RFK, know how to get there. And it's also going to, if we be honest, if you haven't been around RFK for a while, it's going to make that area boom. Because right now the area is not looking that good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna hold on. I'll get into that too. Fat Man Double SX said, should we not fall in love with these undrafted free agent receivers? Not yet, buddy. Let's see how they look in camp. This is great, man. In terms of if you grew up a Redskin and now Commanders fan, this is great, man. Just for me, I mean, as an individual who's watched this team in the late 80s, early 90s and on and whatever, you get to see that environment was something different. That was a real home field advantage. Even no knock on when they moved it, and it was like Rajon Stadium, then it became FedEx or whatever. The first game here over here, it wasn't, it was all right. That's the game I think Michael Irvin had the Michael Westbrook. I said Michael Westbrook had that winning touchdown to christen the stadium. And it was cool. There was a lot of folks here at the game for that. But this is being at RFK is a different vibe, man. It's just a different feel. I think that the younger generation, you guys are blessed too, because now you're rolling into that environment with a mixture of old timers and now the younger generation that's going to we're at a good time with the Jaden Daniel experience. The excitement is going to be 10 times even more. You know what I mean? So I think that's dope. I mean, I always want to feel bad for anytime you have a situation like that. I'm not going to ignore people having to leave their homes and things that and the sorts. That's always a thing that bothers me when you're doing construction, building a stadium at a place where there's people who live there and whatnot. That's always a thing. Buyouts and whatnot, having to leave their community. So that's always been a thing for me. So I get that. So anytime there's anybody puts that out there, I'm never gonna I'm never gonna ignore that. You know what I'm saying? I get it.
Well.
Huh?
So they can be compensated well.
Yeah, they will. Well, some people aren't. Because when they built the Nat Stadium, a lot of folks got displaced, and that wasn't cool. So I understand.
My share says it's not going to really go. Press conference are not going to displace. Now, of course, owners and people say different things.
Yeah, they say different. Everybody says that initially. That's what I'm saying. But they say that initially. But I'm happy. But in terms of being the fandom of the team, I'm glad they're going back to that area because, as a fan, man, that's man, you that road just jumping, bouncing, you can't beat that type of environment. And also there's something about, and I know people want to hear it, but there's something about just having your hardcore real Redskin Commander fans at the game, games. I felt like at FedEx, a lot of folks weren't really a lot of folks weren't really true diehard Redskin fans. I do feel like in the city, you're gonna get a lot of those fans back. That I will say.
You know what I'm really looking forward to with the move in 2030?
It's 2030, I know.
Yeah, it's just 2030.
Yeah.
Around 2032, 2033, you'll get a WrestleMania in DC.
A Super Bowl too, man. Could happen.
Yeah. And a Super Bowl in
DC. If you can have one in New York, you definitely have one in DC.
George, think about it, George. I know you don't like it, but that talking about traffic and talking about energy and all that. Get arrested.
Turn into teams.
It's not what matters. It's not what matters.
Oh, you think so?
What matters is going to Super Bowls, not hosting them. Because I can tell you this right now, they might get that Super Bowl. They're going to get one. Because ain't nobody want to come to Washington, D.C. in the dead of day in winter. Because, you might get lucky and the weather might not be terrible. Chances are it's going to be freezing cold and everybody's going to be miserable.
They had one in New York, though. What are you talking about that Super Bowl in New York?
Yeah, and you know what? That was because of the 9/11 thing, and they ain't ever going to have it there again.
No, man,
I don't care about
no
hosting.
comment. No comment.
Let me make this point. This ownership group has done just about everything right because everything they've done has been about making this franchise the best winner it could be on and off the field. Going for the siren song of hosting one Super Bowl just to be a dome team that doesn't go to Super Bowls way more often than they go to them.
That'd be dope, yeah.
That is bad. You've got to be an outdoor team. This whole, everybody's going to be a dome team in the NFL, that's bunk. And I got news for you. Philadelphia ain't going to be a dome team, and New York ain't going to be a dome team.
No.
And no dome team's ever been tough. No dome team's ever had the stones to go outside and win in the bad weather.
Yeah.
Most of them fall apart in January and February if they ain't at home.
I'm with you. Like, it ain't that cold. I'm with you, Deluxe. George been in Florida too long.
Let me tell you something, Deluxe.
It's global warming up here, George. It's global warming.
I've been through some blizzards. I've been through some blizzards in this region. Don't tell me about it. Ain't no cold in February. I've been there. I have been there. And giving up the advantage of being outside in the middle of winter is a mistake.
Yeah,
Everything else about this is great because here's the key point. This football team has been the heartbeat of sports in this region since baseball left in 72.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, the context of all this. We didn't have basketball yet because the Bullets were in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey didn't come around until 75. And they weren't any good for almost a decade. 7-8 years before they got good. Baseball left in 72. Football has been the heartbeat of this region. And that location at RFK was a central place. You could get on anywhere from any metro stop and get there 30 to 40 minutes. Bang, you were there.
Mm-hmm.
And you could walk right up, go in. And that was what made it great. And yes, the tailgating for the people who could do that was great. But quite honestly, this day and age, I'd rather tailgate at home and then do the metro. Mm-hmm. Do your eating and drinking and have your fun at home.
Mm-hmm.
Then go get on the metro and get yourself in that mindset to watch a football game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best thing about this is that when this team moved out to Landover, it lost something that it never got back. It lost not just being in the heart of the city. It lost what you're talking about, Wole. It lost that fan base that made RFK the intimidating home field advantage that it was. And yes, great teams. It's a chicken and the egg thing. But during that golden age of Washington football, you did not want to have to come to RFK if you needed to win a game in December.
Yeah.
Because we were going to be ready for you and whatever weather it was going to be. We were going to be ready for you. That place was going to be shaking. It was going to be intimidating. You've all seen it. And if you haven't, I'm sorry for you. But during all those NFL films things they did about the Redskins and the people, the visiting players coming out of that baseball dugout, out of that tunnel, out of that baseball dugout, and it was intimidating. Mm-hmm. It was intimidating. And I have no doubt that except for the dome bit, that we're going to get something like that back. That hopefully, whatever kind of stadium we can build, we're going to be right on top of these people. We're going to be right on top of these guys, and it's going to be loud and it's going to be intimidating. Yeah. Because that is what is good. That's the best thing that can happen. That's the kind of thing that you need to be a championship team. We can argue about the dome bit and the other events and all that stuff if you want to. I think that's another show altogether.
Sure.
And I'll go into my rant about that at another time. I'm just glad that we're not going to Maryland, that we're not going to BFE Virginia. You wanted to kill this franchise stone dead? If this franchise had been put in Dumfries or put in Loudoun County near the West Virginia border, because that's where it would have had to be, you'd have killed this franchise off for good. It'd have been dead forever. We'd have been like the Chargers and the Rams out there in L.A. Could never fill our own damn stadium.
Yeah, no home.
So thank God for Josh Harris and this ownership group. And it wouldn't have happened without him. God bless him. It wouldn't have happened without him. We are going back to our spiritual home, and that is where we need to be. Because remember, before that, Griffith Stadium, D.C. as well.
Yeah.
This is a team that was in the district for 70-plus years before it was sadly taken out to suburban Maryland. Mm-hmm. And you look at the change in the caps and the Wizards going from Maryland to DC and how it diversified and added to their fan base, especially when those franchises are winning.
Yeah, good point.
It's inarguable that move to Cap One Arena wasn't the best thing that happened to them. And
That's
thank goodness they're not going to Alexandria either, by the way.
No.
Thank goodness for that.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Because I used to I live by, I had my graduation at the Capitol Center, so I'm very biased to the Capitol Center.
I went to both games out there. I went to both games out there and loved it. But
you're right, though, George. You're right.
Especially the hockey. The way the fan base changed and got better and got more into hockey. Again, you had a way more diverse fan base once they moved to DC than you had when it was in Landover. That's just a fact.
No, you're fact.
And it was so much better for the franchise. It's incalculable how much better it's been for the franchise.
He said, "Hey, Paul said we need to record George's rant before the grand opening."
I'll give you probably at least 15 minutes of my best on that, but that's for another show. Because again, we can have that debate and argue about that. I'm really passionate about and frustrated about that, but I am so glad that they're going back. The fact of the matter is now that we have baseball back, to have all the professional franchises inside the District of Columbia's limits is it had to happen. It's the best thing for this city that's turning itself around. It's the best thing for its fans. The Metro is the best way to go to these games for the most part.
Yeah, everything's right there, 95 there,
even though I don't live in the area, I come back to the area quite a bit. I'm looking forward to – that was the thing I loved about going to Caps and Wizards games. I lived in Richmond for a long time. 80-minute drive to Franconia Springfield and then up the Metro and then an 80-minute drive back home. It was great. And it still would be. If I lived in Richmond, it still would be. The access that it gives to everyone, not to have to go to Maryland, to be in a central spot in the Metro, it is fantastic for Washington and its fans, and I'm so happy about it.
Also, hey, Todd says DC lost some period when Georgia Avenue looks like Bethesda now. DC been lost in so.
No, that's true. That's absolutely right.
It has to a certain extent. Hey, Todd, I get you. I'm kind of with you, Todd, but still. He said the team belongs in DC, but fans shouldn't expect the vibes of the '80s. This fan base needs to create its own vibes. Yeah, I would say. Go, George. Go ahead. Go ahead, Glenn.
No, I just want to touch on that real quick because it's different from the 80s. It was that crowd had no coof back then, right? We wasn't in the political right. You gotta be politically correct now. So in this day and age, you gotta be politically correct going to that stadium. Back in RFK, it was nothing for them to throw stuff at other teams. Wasn't enough for them to jump up and down and have the whole bad boy rocking and shaking. Teams did not like to play there because Washington took over the stadium. But this provides a bigger opportunity for more people to get into the stadium, more fans to come. And if within the next 4 or 5 years, if this team wins the Super Bowl, that stadium ain't gonna house anybody because DC gonna be rocking.
Well, I want to add to Taj's point because Josh Harris said something that I thought was very important. He talked about we're gonna find a way to make some of this affordable for fans. There's been a lot of talk about PSLs, personal seat licenses, and all this.
Really?
And that's going to be tough. But that was the other thing that made the Redskins games at RFK special is that regular people, working people, got in of all shapes and sizes and colors and graces and creeds. And we've got to have that. We've got to have everybody regular people being able to get in these games somehow. And I know it's tough in a new stadium, but we've got to have that because that's what made those atmospheres, those games so great. And I'll add this. Even when the baseball team came back, RFK was rocking. I went to a bunch of games at RFK that year because I was visiting my sister a lot up in the DC area. And I'll tell you, it was like being back at the Redskins games in 2005. It was amazing. And I do think we can recreate that, Taj. I mean, you're right about creating the own vibe, but I think we can get close. But that's the thing Josh Harris needs to remember is that you got to be able to have some avenue to get regular people in here to watch the game. It can't all be the swells and the lobbyists and the big money people in DC. Can't all be just them.
Now, he mentioned that in the press conference that this will be affordable. Question was asked. He said, even though we build a new stadium there, it's going to make it affordable. He wants families there. He pointed to what he did in Philadelphia. He pointed to everything else. All right. So
it's all recorded. It's on YouTube. Y'all talk about it. It's all this.
So he did everything. He did everything. He said he's going to do for the fans and everyone else to make it affordable, make it easy to get to, accessible. I think the last time I was at RFK was a Hampton Howard game.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
The Hampton Howard games used to be in RFK.
Fun.
And those games still used to rock with the bands playing and all that. So, again, it's going to be fun. But, again, that's 5 years away. I know some of you guys say they already moving stuff around and shaping things up. That's 5 years away. This team needs to do something within the next 5 years in order to pack that bad boy out. Can't stink up the place.
Yeah, it's got to be a winner. Like what Todd was talking about. At the end of the day, you got to be a winner. So this window right now, Jaden, is important, to be real with you. If you want to get that type of vibe back, like this run right now, like it's cool. What we experienced last year was great, but now you got to do stuff that's gearing closer to the next move, to that move. You know what I mean? And I kind of expect that to happen. I think they will turn up right before that point, right? Regardless of whatever it is, free agency or whatever. I expect them to turn up just to make sure that they know going into that next following season that this team's ready to do something special.
It is.
Let's see what we got. My man, what's going on? It's like Command This Podcast. Make sure y'all follow them too, man, on YouTube.
Yeah,
subscribe. Like, awesome, man. My man Steve out there, man. Appreciate Steve. Concession prices being lowered could offset like Atlanta did. You can feed a family for $35 there. PSLs will price many out, but they consider them to be affordable. 65,000 makes it more intimate. Totally agree.
And that's a great point, by the way, is that fact that it's a 65,000 seat stadium. That's the right number. That's the right number. You do not want too big a stadium, because unless you're really, really good, you're going to get too many of the other team's fans in there. Because that was the other thing. You'd get your smattering of Eagles and Giants and Cowboys fans at the old RFK, but you never saw anything like what you saw at FedEx at the old RFK.
65,000 ain't enough for Beyonce or Blue by this time.
Hey, on that note,
you got to fight. You got to pay for it sometime. You got to pay for it some other way when you're not playing football. And this stadium will be used in multiple facets. And I'm telling you now, when WrestleMania comes to that stadium, it's gonna be crazy. Anyway,
man, we didn't get to talk to my man Gabe Taylor, but shout out to Gabe Taylor for being signed by the Washington Commanders. Sean Taylor's little brother. I think that's so dope. I'm glad. I actually am rooting for that kid to be lights out in training camps preseason. I hope he plays. I hope he balls out, man. I really do, because I think that that would be a story. That would be a good one. If he can make this team, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, this has been dope, man. We appreciate everybody. The chat. Y'all were amazing, man. Y'all were live. Y'all was lit. Appreciate my man George. Man, my man George went through all types of, like, he went from being a regular Washington Commander podcaster. He went to being like a Martin Luther King Jr. My man said all creeds, races. I felt like I was about to say, damn, I have a dream, George. I got a dream today. All right.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? George brought it. So keep it being my man. Oh man, appreciate you, man. Thank y'all, man.
It wasn't. We used to say in wrestling, it used to be the three faces of Foley. It was the three faces of George tonight.
Facts. George, look, George was going through the emotions today. George is like, look, George, I appreciate when people bring the fire, man. And George brought the heat, man. So I do appreciate that. So I'm not going to that's the truth. That's a fact.
Appreciate you, George. Always.
Thank you so much.
Because George, I was in it. You know, when I ain't gonna lie, when you hit the racist creed, I was like, oh shoot, George spitting.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, George, that's a bar. That ain't a note, that's a bar. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Here comes the collection plates. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's George.
I'll take up a collection for No Dome. I'll definitely take up a collection for No Dome.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Didn't they have WrestleMania outside in Tampa one year?
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, look at Paul. Paul getting collection.
Yeah.
Testify.
It was Tampa. They had Tampa. It was COVID season. The first one was in Tampa. Then they came back after COVID was over.
Why?
Yo, Santiago, let's go Caps. We ain't lying. Let's go Caps.
That's right.
Let's go Caps.
Okay, let's go Caps.
Their little curse is over. Curse is over.
I knew somebody would say Taj closed them doors.
And by the way, folks, watch the Caps recaps that Wole has with Ed Frankovic because they're great.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it, man.
Because I mean, if you're just getting into hockey, it's the perfect thing to watch. But if you love hockey, you're going to get really substance stuff from Ed and from Wole. I've been enjoying those recaps. So
it'll be a great year for them to win, though, if they get there. Ovechkin breaks Wayne Gretzky's record.
It'd be amazing.
And then they ice on the cake. I can see him riding off into the sunset, pulling a Ray Lewis.
Yeah. I could too, actually.
Yeah. He says he's going to come back for 1 year, though. He said he wants to come back for.
I mean, he's got one more year in his contract, but that'd be the perfect way to go out.
It said something perfect. He was like, "Why not get the round number? Come back and get the round number. Like, get 1,000 goals. Why stop and get 1,000 goals?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So like, yeah. I mean, it's dope, man. Obi's generational talent, man. That's like one of the things. Like at this age, 39, to be playing at that level is crazy to me. Glad we sent Montreal to Cancun. Yeah, we sure did. 4-1, baby. 4-1. Yep. That was that's for Cat fans. You sometimes when you play like the lower seeds, you kind of stress out because they kind of like struggle a little bit, but they kind of made easy work. 4-1.
Easy one. Hey, you remember a couple years ago, what was it, 2016, 2017 when they won the Stanley Cup?
2018.
2018.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I hadn't won a playoff series since either.
Yep, exactly. Right, George?
Right. Haven't won a playoff series since. But
all right, well, yeah.
Real point. They did start it off because they won. Then the Capitals, then I believe the Mystics won, and then there was other teams that won. That's one. So the Caps did start it off. So maybe they're gonna start it off and then Washington win. So we'll see.
That's the bottom line.
George said so.
Well,
hey,
like
Taj, that's a T-shirt, Taj.
I'm telling you, folks, if we could do a whole show about the whole dome thing, because I got lots to say about that. You only got a little bit of that tonight.
Hey, when I will come back next week. I've
been heated up over that for a while.
I'm coming next week with my George 316 shirts.
Yeah. Yeet, George like yeet.
What? 4 letters, 1 word.
Oh, man.
Yeet.
Yeet.
Yes, Deluxe. Yes. Au revoir, les habitants.
Canadians. Au revoir, Canadians. All right. So anyway, we're about time to wrap this show up. But yeah, this has been dope, man. Been fun. But again, let me remind y'all, make sure you subscribe to our audio podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and go Errrrything. Also tweet us at ABG_Errrrything. This is on IG and TikTok at ABG_Errrrything. If you're not on our if you're not subscribed to our All Burgundy and go Errrrything YouTube channel, please hit that red subscribe button and also like this current video. Anyway, we appreciate y'all for pulling up. This has been dope, man. I appreciate all of y'all in the chat. Deluxe, Taj, Paul, make sure Santiago, I said Deluxe. Who else? Command this. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all. What's my man? Fat Man, Double SX. Who else I got? I know I have somebody. I think Truth Be Told or Truth Be Told.
Rachel tonight.
Rachel,
Coach Lombard. Thank you.
Yep. Coach Lombard. Yep. That Steve. T Rose. If I forgot anybody, please let me know, man. Actually, we'll make sure I give y'all all. Jeremy, thank you. I don't know. I forgot somebody. Yeah, True be told. There you go. Appreciate all of y'all, man. Y'all made this show dope. You guys are amazing. You make this I'm gonna keep saying this. I'm keeping it all the way 100. You guys make this real fun. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. You make this real fun. Like it's cool to do a podcast, but you take it to another level. So I truly, I know people say you guys are cool. You guys have a great podcast. You guys have a great show. But I want to say this. I truly, truly appreciate y'all. That's the truth. Yep. Ain't nothing but the truth. Anyway, you all been listening to all Burgundy and Gold Errrrything powered by the Urban Sports Scene, the Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia for ages. You dig? Deuces. We are out.